So the steps to solving quadratic equation word problems, everybody's favorite thing, word problems. There's actually only 5 steps. I don't know why 2 random rows were added to my table. But it is first you need to read the problem carefully, assign the variable, make a table if necessary. You won't always have to do this, but I do highly suggest it. And then what you're going to need to do is write an equation and solve the equation. So we're going to solve a couple problems. We have one involving motion and one involving work. For both of those, we are going to have to use the table method. So in 1 3/4 of an hour, Cody rows his boat 5 miles upriver and comes back. The rate of the current is 3 miles per hour. How fast does Cody row? So let's let X be the rate of Cody rowing. And there's one key piece of information that we haven't been given in this problem, and that is that distance equals rate times time. I think we mentioned this back in chapter 1 or 2, but distance equals rate times time. So how far did he go? Well, he had to go 5 miles upriver and then he came back. So let's start with him going upstream and him going downstream. So the distance when he was going upstream would be X minus 3 because the river's fighting against him and he went 5 miles. The rate when he's going downstream would be X plus 3 because he's rowing X and then the river's also pushing him 3 miles per hour, so we'd have to add them together. And then how do I figure out the time? Well, distance equals rate times time, and if I wanted to solve for t as a variable, if I divide both sides by r, I get d over r is t. So my t is going to be 5 over x minus 3 and 5 over x plus 3. So this is the time it takes him to go upstream, and this is the time it would take him to go downstream. Well, we know that total time adds up to 1 3/4 of an hour, which I'm going to rewrite as 7/4, because I don't like mixed fractions. So that means I know that 5 over x minus 3 plus 5 over x plus 3 gives us 7/4. Now, how am I going to solve this? The first thing I'm going to want to do is multiply by the LCD in order to get rid of all the denominators and have this not be a rational function anymore. So I'm going to use a whiteboard for this. We have lots of space. I have 5 over x minus 3 plus 5 over x plus 3 equals 7/4. And the LCD is going to be 4 times x minus 3 times x plus 3. Basically, we're collecting all the denominators. So I'm going to multiply both sides by this. So I have 4 times x minus 3 times x plus 3. Same thing over here. 4 x minus 3. There's never enough room. X plus 3. So I'm going to get, I'm not going to shortcut. So I'm going to get 20 x minus 3 x plus 3 over x minus 3 plus 5 times 4, which is 20, x plus 3 x minus 3 over x plus 3 equals 28, because 4 times 7, x plus 3 x minus 3 over 4. And what's going to happen is my denominators are going to cancel. My x, nope, not my x plus 3s. My x minus 3s cancel. Here my x plus 3s cancel, and here this 4 is going to cancel and leave me with a 7. So on the right I have 7x plus 3, x minus 3, and on the right I have 20 times x plus 3 plus 20 times x minus 3. So let's go ahead and distribute. I gotta go ahead and FOIL over here. X squared plus 3x minus 3x minus 9. Now I can get my terms to cancel. I'd have x, 20x and 20x, so I've got 40x. 60 minus 60 is just going to give me 0. Here I have 7 times x squared minus 9. So 40x equals 7x squared minus 63. And then I'm going to move this 40 over. So I have 0 equals 7x squared minus 40x minus 63. So I say, what are the factors of AC? Which in this case is 7 times a negative 63. That gives me a negative. No. Okay, so when I closed out the whiteboard, everything erased. But where I was we had just gotten to 0. Not in red. I don't like red. I mean, red's a fine color, but not for a whiteboard. So I had 0 equals 7x squared minus 40x minus 63. And I said, what are the factors of AC? Which is a negative 441. If you multiply 7 times negative 63, that add up to B, which is a negative 40. Well, negative 441, and you could have solved this using a quadratic formula, but I like to solve this by factoring, is negative 49 times 9. And negative 49 plus 9 is negative 40. So I use those terms to pull apart my middle term. And then I can factor by grouping. The greatest common factor of 7x squared and 49x is 7x. The greatest common factor of 9x squared and a negative 63 is 9. So I have 0 is 7x minus 9, plus 9, times x minus 7. Now I can solve for my x's. 7x plus 9 is 0. Subtract 9 from both sides. 7x is negative 9. X equals negative 9/7. Then I have x minus 7 is 0 as well. So I get x equals 7. Remember, what we're trying to find is we're trying to find Cody's rate. The speed he was rowing, right? Well, you can't have a negative speed. So our correct answer would be 7, and don't forget our units. It's in miles per hour. Okay, now we're going to solve a work problem. We are going to use the table method for this as well. So 2 chefs are preparing a banquet. One chef could prepare the banquet in 2 hours less time than the other. Together, they complete the job in 5 hours. How long to the nearest tenth, so we're going to round, would it take the faster chef working alone? So let's let x be the speed of the slow chef, time, because we know that the fast chef could get it done in 2 hours less. So then we've got our x minus 2 is our fast chef. And they're trying to complete one job. So we've got our slow chef and our fast chef. So I've got my rate. If I have an amount of time and I'm trying to complete one job, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that time and divide it 1 by that. So I've got 1 over x would be the rate for the slow chef, and 1 over x minus 2 would be the rate for the fast chef, and that's because we're trying to complete the job. Their time together is 5 hours, and we can assume that they're each doing like half the job, even though one works more quickly. So then the fractional part of the job they're gonna do, we're gonna multiply across. So I've got 5 over x and 5 over x minus 2. Okay, so we want the amount the slow chef did of his job plus the fast chef. That's just gonna equal 1. That's gonna equal 1 job. So I have 5 over x plus 5 over x minus 2 equals 1. And the first thing I'm going to do is multiply both sides by the LCD. which in this case is x times x minus 2. And then the last example, I didn't skip any steps, but I'm not going to go ahead and do that this time, because if I take x times x minus 5 over 5 times x, my x's are going to cancel, so I have 5x minus 2. And if I take x times x minus 2 times 5x over x minus 2, those x minus 2's are going to cancel. So I have 5x equals x times x minus 2. Let's go ahead and distribute and combine like terms. I'm going to add 10 to both sides. I'm going to subtract 10x because 5x and 5x is 10x. So I have 0 is x squared minus 12x plus 10. And I think, okay, what are the factors of AC, which is 10, that add up to b, which is negative 12? The correct answer is there aren't any. So we're going to have to solve this by either completing the square or using the quadratic formula. I'm going to go ahead and use the quadratic formula because I know I tend to skip that one. So let's go to a whiteboard and solve this by using the quadratic formula. Switch into green. So I have 0 is x squared minus 12x plus 10. So when it comes to the quadratic formula, I always want us to start by labeling our a, b, c's. So a is 1, b is negative 12. That doesn't really look like a 12 now, does it? 12, and c is a positive 10. So x equals negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. This simplifies to x is 12 plus or minus the square root of, this is going to be 144 minus 40 is 104 over 2. I have x equals 12 plus or minus the square root of 104. 104 is 4 times 26. So I can simplify this radical. I can also take out a factor of 2. So I get x equals 6 plus or minus the square root of 26. And I wanted to round to the nearest tenth. So I have 6 plus the square root of 26, which is going to be 11.1. And I have 6 minus the square root of 26, which is 0.9. Now we aren't done. This is our options for the speed of the slow chef. You know, the slow chef was x minus 2. This was the fast chef. Well, if the slow chef can do it in 0.9, if I have him equal to the fast chef, this is my x. If I plug in 0.9 for that, 0.9 minus 2, well, that's a negative 1.5. 1.1, sorry. And this can't be no negative rate. So this had to be the speed of the slow chef. So find the speed of the fast chef. I'm going to go ahead and take 11.1 minus 2. That gives me 9.1 hours that the fast chef could have done it by himself.